folks, allow me to introduce Jonathan Clark. I met Jonathan Clark from the Leading from the Edge sessions. And from there, we've connected, and I do the thing that I do. I connect with people and finding out that he's been running his own marketing business. He's been running his own business for the last 24 years. He demystifies the marketing process, provides baby steps for his clients, and provides realistic timescales. That's really important. His ideal client is the coach, consultant, and speaker group. He's had some recent successes with the Amazon, with people writing books on Amazon. One from Zero to Hero, Christopher Peacock's book, A Win-Win at Business, and that was Angela McCullough, and then Dog and Trainer Behaviorist John McQuinn. And I'm probably saying that really wrong, so I apologize. So he helps the coaches and these folks where they don't have the time for the marketing. He helps them reach out. And he's been involved with BBC Radio Scotland, Sunday Post, Glasgow Herald. He's worked with 3 finalists in Dragon's Den. So he's passionate about what he does, and he has a wealth of information. He's got NLP training, he's got LinkedIn training, and obviously he does marketing. And I'm going to stop now because this is Jonathan's time. Over to you, sir.
I hate being introduced like that. Oh my goodness, no pressure. This is really interesting because I'm a life coach. I was fortunate enough to go and train in Hawaiian Huna in Hawaii over 5 years. I'm an author. I'm a speaker. So I feel like I'm in here with my people. I feel as if I'm in with friendly people who I can understand. So yeah, I'm here to just chat, download, share, channel, see whatever the heck happens. I met Bernie, and as you know, Bernie is an exquisite networker, and he invited me to come along and talk to you guys. So I hope I can be of value to you. I hope I can share some stuff that will inspire you, but more importantly, give you things that you can actually go and do in the real world, because I'm all for inspiration and rah-rah, but I much prefer something that I can take away and use and see something manifest, within 24 hours. That's my favorite kind of thing. I don't want to have to get a degree in something for it to work. I'd rather learn it now, use it tomorrow, and it works right away. And that's effectively what our clients pay us for. A little bit of background. How long do we have, Bernie? How long would you like me to rant?
You have about 20 minutes, 30 minutes.
Okay, cool. So quick crash course background. I was a shy, thin, specky kid with asthma. Not a lot has changed. And I was sick and tired of getting sick and tired. I was always really nervous. Fear was my thing. I could do fear like you wouldn't believe. I did fear so well that at age 16, I was diagnosed with a duodenal ulcer. And I was put on a drug called Tagamet to line the coating of my intestine so that I wouldn't throw up all the time. I used to go to work and be sick on the bus going to work and come home from work feeling great. And I didn't know why until eventually they did a kind of CAT scan thing and discovered I had a hole in my stomach burned through fear. And I realized I've actually damaged my physical body through the power of thought, which is a fairly crap superpower. At the same time as I came out of university, my brother came out of uni with a degree in psychology and lots of really thick books that I was fascinated by. And I realized through learning about Adler and Freud and everybody else that I have done this to myself. I have physically burned a hole in my gut through being worried about stuff that usually never happens. And that set me on a journey. And I think people get into personal development either out of inspiration or desperation. And in my case, it was definitely the latter. But I've not really met that many people who were inspired into it. It's usually a life raft. And then that's what it was for me. I saw in an advert in my local newspaper in Scotland, where I am, a self-confidence distance learning course. So these are the days where you would fill in an assignment and post it back to your tutor, who would then mark it and send it back to you with guidance. And a little booklet would arrive every couple of weeks in the post with exercises in it. And it started talking about stuff that I thought only I was doing, right? Someone else was talking about things that I thought only I worried about, right? that little course really opened me up and introduced me to this whole world of PMA, positive mental attitude. And I discovered there was a whole bunch of people out there who were thinking the same kind of things as I was thinking. That led me into stuff like Zig Ziglar, Dennis Waitley, all the home study programs which fill my drawers behind me. That ultimately led me to a very tall American chap called Tony Robbins, who I went to see when he did his first UK tour. And I liked it so much, I became one of his account representatives and started selling his tickets for him. And I love Tony to bits. That inspired me to learn hypnosis and NLP. So I became an NLP practitioner, and I started doing therapy with people in hotel lobbies because I couldn't afford a premises. And I decided I really needed to help people, and I could do it with this stuff that created really, really rapid change. So someone came in with a phobia and they would leave an hour later, no phobia. And I'd never seen it fail, right? I'd never seen NLP fail. So I thought this is the magic bullet. And you've probably done that yourself. I found the holy grail. I found the magic bullet, the magic wand that will fix the world. So I did NLP practitioner with 3 different companies. Each had a slightly different kind of slant. There was the business guys, and there was the therapy guys, and there was the education guys. And I was fine, quite happy with that, working on clients one-on-one, getting great results really early on. No idea what I was doing, no business plan, just a really strong desire to help people. And I went through that pricing thing that everybody goes through, where I looked at what other hypnotherapists were charging and other people were charging. Coaching hadn't arrived yet in the UK. So I charged, I think, £5 higher than the local guy because I felt as I'm new and I'm shiny and I'm enthusiastic and I'll run rings around them. I was £25 an hour. And when I went employed to self-employed, in my first month self-employed, I made the same as my last month employed. So no dip in income. In month 2, my income doubled. Now, everybody I've spoken to, career advisors, business opportunity people, said you'll make a loss for the first 2 years in your business. And I'm thinking, I'm 2 months in and I've doubled my income. Why didn't I do this sooner? Because freedom is really important to me. So I'd rather work for myself than work for someone who knows less than me or has less qualifications than me. That really irked me. So here I am now, working when I want, with who I want, and making twice as much money and getting a real job satisfaction from it. It continued that way. In fact, I do actually have a graph here. Let me just show you something because this is important. This is my earnings for the first 10 years of my business. Now, I had no business plan. I had no coach. I had no idea what I was doing. I just was enthusiastic. I just wanted to help people. And it worked really, really well. I actually have the original little book that I used to keep my my money in. This is my accountant's book, right? And this is as complicated as it got. And literally, this is probably against all sorts of privacy regulations, but that's the names of my clients and how much they paid me. And you can see what they paid in month 1, month 2. Then it goes up quite well, month 3, 4, to the point where I was making 6 figures a year and going to Hawaii every 6 months. And I thought, maybe I should learn and get trained in how to run a business. So I did NLP Master Practitioner, and then I did NLP Trainers Training. And I was very, very happy with it. I thought I've got enough knowledge now. I've got enough of a library to keep me going for the rest of my life. But I was working with people. Bear in mind, I was a shy kid who had an ulcer. I'm now doing workshops. I'm now running 7-day training courses. I'm now on national TV, working with celebrities and thinking about writing a book and thinking about creating an online course and bearing very little resemblance to the me of 20 years earlier, and loving every minute of it. I think to get paid to do what you love is the highest career you could possibly have. So I'm out having a ball. 2003, go through a big relationship issue. Me and my girlfriend split up. I just walked away. I went and hid somewhere, literally hid somewhere. And a friend of mine phoned me up and he said, I booked you on a training course. I was doing the whole depression thing. NLP trainer, you've got to do depression. You've got to try on how your clients feel. And grew a beard, shut the curtains, hid, didn't come out, didn't talk to anybody. You've got to really milk it for what it's worth, you know. And this pal phoned me up and he said, I'll book you in a training course. I went, I don't want to do a training course. He went, well, you'll want to do this one. I went, what is it? He said, it's Huna in Hawaii. I was like, oh, hang on a minute. I've got an audio tape set on Huna. And I'd heard about Huna, banned by the Boston missionaries, made legal again in 1988, I think, when the Native American Freedoms Act was passed and Hawaii was an American state. So all of a sudden, the Hawaiians were allowed to chant in Hawaiian in Hawaii for the first time in 100 years. You know, as you do. Huna freaked me out. Huna had an ancient language. It had some strange energy healing. It had symbols. It had meteorology and weather patterns, and it had a whole bunch of things that I was attracted to, but it freaked me out. And okay. So I find myself on the big island in Kona with my friend, two pale Scottish guys in Hawaii, on this training course. And I felt and experienced it a lot. I've read about a lot that I'd never felt before, which was a homecoming feeling. Going somewhere where you've never been, but feeling more comfortable there than you do in your own hometown. Very strange. Very, very strange. I knew where the volcano was. I knew where the hotel was. I knew where everything was. I've never been there in my life. Or have I? So I ended up going to Hawaii 5 times, being initiated into a Hawaiian shamanic order. And I'm here to tell you, they knew some stuff. We were having, oh, by the way, got back together with that girl, got married on the beach by a Hawaiian kahuna, a genuine Hawaiian shaman, on a sacred site, with a huge honeybee, which flew between us during, it's on the video. I'm told that honeybees are the messengers of the gods in Hawaii, so I took that as a good omen. We were having problems having children. My wife Cheryl really wanted to have kids, thank you, and it wasn't happening. And medically, psychologically, there was no apparent reason, but it just wasn't happening. We learned that there was a fertility pond on the grounds of the hotel where we stayed. So I asked one of the Hawaiian teachers if 2 haoles, 2 white people, could borrow the fertility pond. And we did, and our son Luke was born 9 months later. So by this point, I am sold. I am like, I'm all in. You know, I was given permission to teach this stuff. I came back to the UK and I started doing Huna seminars and Huna CDs and you name it. So I'm coming at it from the 4 bodies. I'm coming at it from physical, emotional, mental, spiritual. I'm not a marketing guy who's purely into SEO, you know, websites and Facebook marketing. I'm coming at it from a whole different holistic kind of model. We don't just handle marketing. I'm a business coach. So I look at a company from their branding, from their positioning, to their funnels, to their sales conversion, and everything in between. Typically, though, we end up looking at their branding and positioning because that's usually the biggest weak point, is not being able to be seen, not being able to be found. And my company, Instant Edge, now specializes in helping mainly coaches, consultants, and speakers who are great at what they do, but rubbish at telling anybody. Okay. Our clients typically are world-class at what they do. I'll show you a great example of this. And this comes from my 9 years in BNI. You can be visible and you can be credible and you can be profitable. Now, if you're visible, but you're rubbish at what you do, then you're an obvious blankety blank. You're rubbish and everybody knows you're rubbish. Okay. If you're invisible, but very good at what you do, nobody knows. Nobody knows. And an awful lot of people I work with and my company works with are in that category. They are amazing at what they do. They could have a conversation with someone and change them, but they're not so good at actually getting seen and getting found. You know, getting likes and getting shares and getting comments on LinkedIn is one thing. Getting hired and getting paid is something else. So what we specialize in is helping people get found and get seen. And there's 54 ways to do that I know of. And I'm always open to more, but there's 54 that I can think of. And we just look at, okay, what you're currently doing, what could you be doing, what your competition doing, what's working already. And this comes from my NLP background. What's already working model what's already working. Don't try and reinvent the wheel. Put it out there, test it. Everything's a test. See how it works, get feedback, tweak it, do it again, till eventually you get like our dog walking client who will phone me up every few weeks and go, press the button, which means we switch on their Facebook ads and their diary fills, and then we stop it. And we're now at that point where we can do that, but that's taken maybe 3, 4, 5 months of testing, right? And that's the one thing people don't do. They don't put an ad out, test it, and then put a slightly different ad out and see if they can beat their stats. That's the kind of mad scientist thing we do all the time. So we now do books. I've published 12 now so far. Interesting that The Boys came up. I love that series. I wrote a series of books back in 1988 about a group of superheroes who are celebrities, but all have a dark side. So either my office is bugged or I'm really on point now with my trend. But those books are called The Paragons of Virtue, and they're out on Amazon now. Thanks for asking. And I'm having a ball writing fiction. I've written 6 non-fiction books as well, and we've created 16 Amazon best-selling authors in the last year and a half, because we now know how to give Amazon what Amazon wants, and we can pretty much guarantee you'll be in the top 10 with a book. And right now we're creating a book with, if you pardon the subject material, but it's the surgeon who did the most of the vaginal mesh operations in the UK. Okay, for incontinence, they installed this device into people which cannot be removed once it's in, and has now cost tens of thousands of women a lot of pain, a lot of broken relationships, a lot of issues. He is now fighting the crusade to have them banned and hopefully have compensation paid to the women involved. He's the guy that put them in. He's now the guy who's managed to shut the factory down. He's managed to have them banned in the UK, and he's pursuing a legal case for compensation. We're doing his book. Now, the way we do his book is I go and interview him in his house. Well, I can't do that right now because of lockdown, but I can interview him on Zoom. I ask him a few questions for about an hour. We record the whole thing. We then get that transcribed. That then becomes the first draft of a chapter. We do that 9, 10 times. We've got 9, 10 chapters. He hasn't touched a keyboard, and he's a published author. So that's on its way. We know the categories on Amazon to put it under. So we know exactly how many copies he needs to sell to hit #1 before we even launch. And we know for a fact that the audience and the following he's got on Facebook, he's probably going to hit #1 anyway. Okay. It's not trying to trick Amazon. It's not trying to game them. It's trying to give them what they want. If you give Google what it wants, if you give Facebook what it wants, they'll reward you with visibility. If you try and trick them, you'll get punished. You'll end up in Facebook jail. So I live on the internet. My whole job is to take what people's experience or knowledge or credentials. You've all got stuff in your head right now. If you can swim, there are people out now who can't, who would love someone to teach them. If you can drive, there's people stuck in a house right now who can't get out, and you could drive them, right? You have skills, talents, and abilities that if you can turn into a format that's consumable, that's the right format for your target market, and you aim it at the right people, a number of them will buy. And you get paid to do what you love. And I love doing that, whether that's books, online courses, workshops, one-on-one coaching, group coaching, instant message coaching. You know, I did the teleseminars, I did the telephone coaching. I trained with Coach University over 3 years. That's what that big pile of folders is up there. A 3-year training course in coaching. That was when telephone coaching was the thing, right? When Thomas Leonard launched Coach U. Now it's all done on Zoom. You can talk to anybody, anywhere, pretty much any time of day, as was said earlier on, if you get the times right. And I love that. It's no longer a case of being local. You don't need to be local anymore. You can go global. And we help our clients do that kind of stuff. And if I can help you, I can give you free resources. I can give you tons of stuff that you can go away and use today that will create change. I've actually got a little LinkedIn gift for you guys. I know you've probably heard from my colleague, Jim Meldrum. Jim Meldrum and I work closely on LinkedIn stuff. I've got a little thing I'm going to give you today that you can grab for free, which will hopefully make your life on LinkedIn a lot easier. But I'm here to answer questions, to give you guidance, steps, advice, the benefits of all my mistakes. You don't have to make them. And if any of that made any sense to you, then thank you very much for listening.